Hello guys. In this lecture we are going to discuss about databases and learn about how to use, create and modify and apply the database pages within Notion. Let me take you through these things. The very first is I'm going to give a title to this page. I have created a new page so that I would give you a good understanding about databases. Database example. You can already see here there are different types of databases. One is the table database, board database, list database, calendar view database, gallery database. So Notion provides us with 6 different types of databases. Depends on what and how we want to use them. Depending on the need of your work, you can use whichever one you want. The very first thing is I'm going to go with the table type of database because it is the most fundamental way of representing any database. So first thing is let me give this an icon. Click on drag. Probably the you can see this is a table. Column names. You can extend columns you want, right? These are rows where we can actually build data items. First thing is every record in a page in a database has a page. The first name, this is where pages are going to happen. Here, if you type something, three, give different tags. Say, review. There are multiple things. Actually, we have kept all because it is. I'm going to deal with the properties. You can give different tags so that you would understand what this record actually means and what it is for. But one HR review. If you can click on this, it will open up a page here, and whatever items you feed here, yeah, that way. So simply to give you an understanding, you can actually have a lot of things. A database where rows and columns have and database is itself a page. Within database, we can have a lot more pages. So it is pages within pages, but in an organized format. Right now, this is a table view database. Then what else do we have? I'm going to change it to table database. And we can actually create and what I'm going to do is I'll just put table database within database again. Below table database, I want to give what else? Board Board database is nothing but giving you a view like Kanban task board. Each card item within Kanban view will have the status, not started or in progress or completed. You can add a lot of status here. It your own statuses along with your own cards and tags with it, simply to give you the status where particular item is processed present. That is board data. What else do we have? List data. Here is just a list of items, but you can use it. Some people might think list data, but no. List databases are where the simple have to utilize it based on your need. One form is then we have a calendar which you can give items. Here you can add date. Task is calendar database is the time and date task. We can create a page on this and give it a time or date specific usage. Timeline data. Database where a particular item task page being processed few days. Start date to a particular, that is when it is processed. Gallery database. Don't worry, we are going to go in depth in each of these database types, giving you what are the that we actually have. This is the gallery database. So here we can have pages in gallery like a photo album. You have a travel, like example, you have a traveling portfolio and you want to save contents based on which country you have visited. Then you would go for these kind of things, and this would be for a Greece country, and you would place all the Greece related items here. That way you can actually make a lot of usage with gallery databases. Now let's deal with the properties inside a database. I have said within every database we have an item. Like here we have records. Each record can have a multiple properties, which means properties are nothing but what defines or gives meaning or identification to a particular item. So here record 1, record 2, record 3, there are 3 different records, but to understand which one what each record belongs to, given here HR review for first one, the second was an interview, the third one is an annual review. If you don't have this kind of identification attached to it, you would just have to go through every single record, which is going to be a lot more time taking if you have too many records in your database. Although the name itself of the page or the record can give you a lot of identification. When you have 100 records and you want to find out something which you don't or you might not remember the name of it, then you can actually use these tags or whatever properties that you have set to go through that particular record and find out. It is a great way for you to go through anything you want to find out. Let me just give you what kind of properties and what I'm going to click on. So right now we have kept you here the property tag where you can actually find out what are the kind of properties that you can give. The first are basic. These are text, simply giving a description for anything you want to create. All right. And then the number. You can, if you have a record of purchase items, you can give it a price. Or if you have something like tracking your weight over the weeks, you can give it a weight as a number. And then select is where we have used the tags in HR review, interview, and annual reviews. Select, or this select is going to be giving you the option of choosing only one tag per record. You cannot choose multiple, but multi-select will give you multiple choices, which means you can select 2, 3, or 1 or 2 or 3 or as many as you want. Date. This is where you can add reminders or give deadlines or include when an event has occurred or when a record has been created. Like if you are maintaining your budget sheet here, you can give a transaction date. Or if there is any task you have assigned to somebody within your team or to yourself, you can give it a deadline. Then person is when you actually refer to a person on your team. This is where assignments can be useful. Files and media. Whenever there is a record where particular items are like references or attachments that are really necessary that go along with that particular record, you can upload files and images to it. Checkbox. Checkbox is when you can track the status with a single checkbox. I mean, like if you are maintaining a habit tracker, which we are going to create it within our course in a very subtle manner. If you want to just keep a check mark that you have completed something, you can use checkbox as status. URL. URL is when you want to give a record. That either it is even use URL as a property. Email. Referencing an email address. If you are running a blog or outreach, multiple people or a huge number of list of people, and you want to email to them, you can just give their email addresses, storing the phone numbers. These are basic properties. Here we have advanced property. Formula is when you can give properties the formula for using. These are not basic ones. These are something we can customize based on our need. Formulas are very advanced and very useful, which we are going to discuss in our course. Plus, extensively, we are going to dive deep into it. Then relation. Relation will allow you to link or reference to another database in another page. That is roll up. Roll up is when display and summarize data from relation. Like I said, relation is where you can link or reference to another page, the database in a page. Roll up is when you can extract some kind of details from the relation or the reference created. I'm going to teach you how this is done in this lecture. Right now, overview. Create a time when a particular reference created by the whoever has scheduled time. If you want to track the status or who is updating a particular page, then you can choose these two things. Who edited? These are some kind of properties that we take good usage of. Right now, we're just going to deal. I'm going to tell you about relation. Right now, these are prop. Let me tell you how to. Here, I'm going to give deadline. Yes. Let's now talk about filters. Filters are nothing but making sure that your database or whatever you're trying to view in your database, you can exclude some items from viewing in a particular view. I mean, right now we have 3 records. What if there are 300 records and you only want to visit about take view of HR review records itself? Then I'm going to come here into filter. I'm going to create add filter where tag is HR review. I can only have records of HR review. See that? And if I want HR review and annual review, add a filter and you can see end or tag is review. Now I have 2 records. Let me just delete this, turn into a group where add a filter, view, and deadline is before. Now you can see there are 2 filters. So in this way, you can actually uh, create database views or create view records within a database of only those records that fit into your category. So in this filtering, you make use of properties as the guidelines of how you want to view records. So now you have understood how filters work. Let me remove all of this. If you want your records to be viewed in a certain way, now you can see the deadlines of the 24 and 21. You can either have them in ascending or descending. I want the earliest deadline to be what I would do. I would choose which property I want to use. It's ascending. You can see now it has been ordered. Ascending, earliest deadline would appear at the bottom. Obviously, I wanted it in ascending format. So in this way, you can use sort. You can use sort or you can apply sort on multiple things. So if I have a priority, sort, priority. Now you can see. It's saying you can apply sort so that you would understand which one property your data record. So filters and sort are some things you can make modification the way the databases are showing record, what records are being shown to you, but not to simply remove any record. Understand that all the records of your database are still existing, but within that particular view, filtered and sorted, that view is going to be customized based on what properties and filters and sort using. We have covered filters and sort. Now let's look at page, full page, and something you must have databases in order to get them at that point. I want to say each of these databases which we have created are full page databases, which means when I go into this subpage, I can have a database. If I go into this board database, I can board database. Which means each database is created in the form of full page. But if you want database to be shown within a page, you can actually create one. I'm going to go to demo page, which already has box in it. I want here some database to be list. You can see here there is inline and full page. Every database type you will have an inline and a full page views. Here I'm going to choose inline. Now you can see, and this is just so here you will get all the records which are available. Mostly whenever we do inline database, there will be filters and sort applied because inline databases, particular use of inline databases is to show only particular records that belong to a certain page. If this is a page that has all the customer requirement data, I will be showing inline database as a records customers and their requirements, and if there is any time period involved, I would apply that filter as well. And if those are sorted based on priority, it will be much more useful. The inline databases are where you wouldn't be seeing. Still, it is a part of usage where we can every single database type has an inline and a full page database view. You can use them. Let me show you those things. Here the database table inline, board in, gallery inline, list, calendar inline, timeline inline. And you can come down here, table database full page, board database full page, gallery database full page, timeline database, list database full page, calendar database full page, timeline database full page. So every database type has a full page view and inline view. Depends on what and where you want to use. Now it is time for us to discuss the database views. Let's look into that. Now let's see what views we can do. Here we have records about all of them. What if you want to view things or records that have only reviews? Here we have star review, full review, and interview. Interview is much more difficult. What I will do is although you can filter and sort by those things, that's not the main. We want the review of filtering what I would do is, for this I would give it view name as you created. In this part, create a filter. Here I would add we have table. In all records would, if I want to review only record here and this one, go through what is the HR, right? In this way, you can actually use different views. These are database views. Within the table database, this is created as a table database, but still we were able to create a view of list. So we can use multiple database types and different views for a single database. That is cool, right? Now, if I want to view records based on deadline, it lines date. Now I have a calendar. Now I want to group things by deadline. Deadline. Group. Here you can see 16th has one deadline where we 21 has another deadline, 24 has another deadline. So main important thing to understand here is we are trying to show which is an item on which day. Simply, this would be a simple procedure if it is a task that has to be performed on that particular day. Either you can see it as a deadline or it can be seen as a reminder. But what if you have a task that has to be completed on a particular day by a particular day reaches, and it has to be started on a particular day? Like you have a task that is to be started in first and it has to be completed by March 25. You don't want it to be reminded on 25th, and you don't want to be shown as something that has to be on this entire timeline. In that times, you would be going for deadline timelines. But here we don't have. So what I would do is I would go for all. I would actually give timeline. Here I would now if I go to start of it is 5. So in this way, you can see whenever you get to this part, you will know there is something that has to be started, but it is a task that has to be carried out over the period of 5 days, and by the time it is fifth day, you have to be able to finish it. You would plan accordingly for the entire 5-day period. So timelines are useful in this manner. You can either see all the records here or you can simply close it. So let's get back to all records. In this way, you would be able to use different database views, single database, different way, right? You can actually create all kinds of stuff. Like if I add a status here, Now, the reviews if I of this to board, now you can see there based on that in there is one task two are complete. Now you can see here have the time although these two because just to give you an example what is happening, three tasks, two of them are completed which are already showing it. One is in progress. This is a way if you don't want all of these properties here you can this is all now you can see this is a much more cleaner view. In this manner you can select which properties are to be shown and which one should be turned off. Just because you have turned off these properties here doesn't mean those are removed, because in this view those properties are invisible, but if you go here all the properties are again visible. So in this manner you can use database views to make sure that you're having a clean and also a very flexible way of using Notion databases. Take advantage of this database views when you're trying to tinker with any kind of data that you want to store and use and modify and make use of and actually use it for application. So guys, database also has feature if we have more number of records we can actually search. I hit here, I know something about want to visit that, like if there is named if I want to search I would this is how you can use the search feature, all of them. You can see the record in this way. Search feature can actually help you in doing a lot of stuff, simply avoiding filters and sorts if you are obviously aware of what the name you have given the record. Search feature is something you to be for you to use if you're aware of the search of the title of the page. The next is template. So if you have seen here HR review, interview, annual review, these are some pretty redundant things, which means not in the sense where these tasks are pretty common, but a HR review or an interview or an annual review will have some boilerplate things that are pretty easy to do, which means which are repetitive, which don't need too much thinking, or sometimes the questions will be common for all of them. For example, an annual review will consist of questions if the annual review is being conducted for 10 employees. The questions for all 10 of them will have common 10 questions. I mean, if the reviewer is actually want to go through each individual, then it will have some other, but usual way would be all the 10 employees will be facing 10 similar questions. In this case, you don't want to create a template, use it, everybody who you want to. You can see whenever you hit this new template, you will get this for editing table data. Here I will show. We can give this so that you don't need to change. Here, that you would know for interviewing. Here, you can actually there are any question with you can go ahead and add. This will, in needless to say, this will be common for everybody for conducting a review. So if you can do this, at some point if you're trying to conduct games, instead of create click on and I would say games deadline. That is nice. Now you have you can see if this way database templates are quite actively used. If you can create a database template that which is always useful, it can be pretty easy to work with. If you're working in a software project and there are bugs being reported, you don't want, there is a certain way each bug has to be reported, because there will be certain details common for every bug, and each bug will be having a description, and certain details are common for any bug that has been recorded. In that way, in that situation, what you would do is you would create a template that named as bug report and give the common details that are necessary. Although you would leave room for giving any additional information, templates are useful when you have a common information necessary for recording any new or any common type of task that is repeated once in for a while. What you have to create a template, build into this. Has to be entered in. That is the process here. We have covered templates. Now it is time for applications. Let me take some. This will be here. I'm going to have selling item. $30. This would be. Now I have a custom. If I want to show this, he has purchased something from the items. So I want details of the item. Then what I would do is items won't be a multi-select, but this will be a relation. So now I will be using the items database as a reference. Select the database. It is. And now I would create. And Jacob t-shirt. And I want the price to be available here. Then I would use this roll up. Property name. I want the price or the amount. Would show the sum of. Now, if there is somebody like purchase, now you can see the price is already. This is relations and create or use a certain relations. If you go to high heels, data to can either hide this property, create it, leave it as such. If when you go into show customers purchase, if I want what purchase, then I want this data. This is how relations and roll-ups can work. Great way for you to or link to databases and create references for them. The next would be linked databases. Let's go and understand. Now, let's create linked databases. We have already seen table database having these. If you want a new page where you are just this, now I will existing data. Now, let me tell you, this is only for HR. What I would do is this is when you have a HR. If you are a HR and you want to see what tasks are assigned to you, what are the reviews that you have to conduct, then you would come here simply to see what reviews are pending. This is unlike database views which we have seen earlier. This is a linked database, which means a database that is already existing within another page, and yet you can create a copy of it here. Just because you have filtered here things doesn't mean that the actual database is affected. No, the actual database is containing everything, but here we have our things as we have filtered. Although when you actually make any changes here, then if you actually go to tables data, open record 1, you can see the if you go back to HR, open this, now you can see linked databases are where you visit or view or have a copy of the already created database where you want. Although you can use records here, although you can use different views, it is always easy when you create a copy of the front page. That is the now we have learned everything that is to know about databases. Let's get to the next lecture where we're going to learn about some useful and very effective Notion tips and tricks. Thank you very much, guys.